Welcome to Nerve, a game like Truth or Dare minus the truth. Watchers pay to watch, players play to win, cash and glory. Are you a watcher or a player? Are you a watcher or a player? Are you a watcher, player, watch player?
It's cool, right?
This looks very sketchy. Is this legal?
V, life is passing you by. You need to take a few risks every once in a while.
I do take risks.
Okay, you're playing Nerve. Do you accept your dare, V?
Kiss a stranger for 5 seconds?
Just kiss that guy.
Okay.
Okay, bye.
Apparently, the Watchers want me to team up with you.
I don't think I'd make a very good partner.
Stay. Let's see what else happens.
Okay.
Is that V?
Do you know where I can find this dress? My wallet, my clothes, everything's gone.
No, my stuff is gone too. Let's go, come on.
Not jumps.
Look, we don't have a choice.
Technically, it just says we have to leave the store.
Big fan.
Hold on, I'm just doing the Y in Daddy.
What?
He's kidding.
Dollar bill, yo.
You know that some kid died in Seattle playing Nerve?
What happens if I bail?
You lose everything.
All of our money is missing.
Wait, Mom, what? Officer! Officer, I need help.
V, don't do this.
How'd you know my name? What the hell is going on?
Watchers, they stole our identities. We became prisoners of the game.
V, we control your life.
The only way out is to win.
All right, remember, you're my eyes.
No way. Faster!
Players, show us your weapons.
Thanks, everybody. Just keep wooing until we find places to sit. Everyone good? Do we need more woos, or are we good now?
We're good.
All right, we're good. Guys, congratulations on this movie. I loved it. I got to see it last week. Everyone does an incredible job, but I really think we should give it up for the filmmakers.
Definitely.
This film looks unbelievable.
Thank you.
From beginning to end, it's like an amazing assault of visual styles. You know, you have iPhones, you have what looks like handy cams, and then you have like beautiful dolly push-ins with cinematic cameras. Talk to me about developing the look of the film from the beginnings.
Man, we wanted to sort of do like Fincher meets the internet, not the social network. You know, like living on Instagram is so fun. There's something to look at all the time. Snapchat's just like a world of visuals, but you got to try to put that into a movie theater box. So that was the goal. I'm glad you felt that way.
So taking everything that sort of is in our pocket on our phones and putting it into a very cinematic visual style.
Yes, sir.
One thing I just want to say real quick is that just want to give them another compliment. I'm very critical of everything that I do, and this is one film that I genuinely love, and that's very difficult for me to say about things that I'm in, and I give them so much credit because they had such a strong vision, and it's one of the few times in my entire career where I've been able to step back and acknowledge like how great something is, and I'm just happy to be along for the ride. I would have been happy to be an extra in this movie.
Thanks, Davey.
There it is. Dare one of you to disagree.
I ditto.
Emma hates it.
No! I love you guys so much.
How did you guys get involved with the film? What piqued your interest? Let's start there.
Well, for me, I mean, I read the script and I just thought it was so original and it's also just so current with how, you know, obsessed all of us are, myself included, with social media these days. And then I met with Henry and Rel, and they showed me their vision for this, and we talked, and I just I fell in love with them, and then
I fell off a chair.
I was just gonna tell that story. Yeah, we were having lunch and we were sitting around the table and I forgot which one of you, it was you. And he leaned over to tell me something and the leg of the chair snapped out from under him and he fell onto the ground and I was like, well, now you have to hire me so we can tell this story to everybody. And it worked.
Is that all it takes? Because I'll fall out of chairs if we can get.
Yeah, definitely.
Emily, what about you?
Well, I had a different process with it. I auditioned for it, but before that,
Wait, when I read the script, I envisioned you in the role.
Em
I
and I-
envisioned both of them in the role.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it was crazy. When
Were
I-
they
Em and I have known
cast
each
at
other a
all? Were
long
either-
No, and just in my mind, because Emily and I did a movie together, like
10 years ago. Or
yeah,
At least 20
we're not
years.
that old, but no, a long time ago, Dave and I had done like a music video together, and when I read the script, for some reason, they both popped into my head, and then here we all are. So
Did you guys have a conversation about that at all, or did it just sort of coincidentally you ended up casting them for the movie as well?
No, you want to cast a team that wants to work together, that feels right. You know, it's chemistry. You're basically setting up.
She mentioned us when you guys met her.
no,
Yeah.
but
No, it was
I didn't know about
coincidence.
Emily until later on. That was like weird happenstance.
Real, don't
We
make
talked
me
about Dave, though.
Yeah, we talked about Dave.
Yeah.
We talked about you.
Thank you.
We talked about you.
We talk about you a lot.
Most people talk about it.
Let's try to sort of say what the movie's about. It's hard. It's not hard to explain, but I'd rather one of you do it than me
think
try
I got
to do
it.
a quick summary.
Been doing this for the last few days. All right, as quickly as possible because it's a little complicated. But it's an online game. Comes into a city for 24 hours. In our movie, it's New York City. You can pay to be a player or a watcher. If you're a player, the watchers find information about you online through your Twitter, through your Facebook, Instagram, whatever, and they use that information against you to give you dares that you wouldn't want to do. So if they find out you're afraid of heights, they're going to put you at the top of a really tall building. And as the movie goes on, it gets crazier and madness ensues.
And if you're ever on the verge of having kids, you can watch this movie and really it'll validate your belief that you should never have children because they're just going to consistently do things that scare the ever living shit out of you. Yeah. I think at one point your character, when she's walking on the ladder between two buildings, I turned to my friend that I was watching it with and I said, I'm never fucking having kids because they're going to do this.
Especially now that it exists, they'll see it and they're even more likely to do it.
Well, yeah, there was one thing in the 90s, this is a tangent, we'll get to the movie in just a second. In the 90s, there was this movie called The Program.
People have brought this up.
People have brought this up?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So it's, you haven't heard this? So in the 90s, there's this movie, The Program, and these football players in the movie dare each other to go lay in the middle of a highway. They did it, the movie came out, people did that, and then the studio had to pull the movie out, recut it, and put it back into the theaters. And I kept watching this being like, I hope no kids do this when they're watching this movie, because incredible stuff that these teenagers do.
Me too, man.
Yeah, I hope no one replicates anything that happens in this movie.
But the scary thing about the game is that with all the technology available right now, it could exist, but it shouldn't exist.
Yeah, absolutely. Was that something that you guys ended up doing beforehand, sort of looking into how the technology could exist and how sort of realistic
we talked to a lot of app designers and developers, and we said, like, is this possible? And if it did exist, how would it work? And we actually had a working version of the game that we used on set a little bit, so it felt natural. And I think right now, even with like Pokemon Go and stuff, right?
Absolutely.
Are you guys playing that? Like the technology's like even surpassed what's in the movie. Like the technology is moving so fast right now, and games are moving into the real world.
This sort of altered reality, not in the sense where it's virtual reality, where you're sort of stuck in the game itself, but it's altering the things that are in front of you. And I think what's interesting is that your movie also touches on some of the things that are happening with Pokemon Go, where people are sort of utilizing or using these new technologies for their own personal or exploitation of others in certain ways.
Yeah. Periscope came out while we were editing the movie.
Oh, I didn't know.
Really?
Yeah, which we were like, okay, so we're on the right track for this to exist, which is basically streaming HD quality video, which is necessary for Nerve to exist. What Pokemon Go does, which I guess Nerve does too, is it uses what's around you. So if I know you're playing and I'm a watcher, I'll know what's nearby based on GPS, and I'll dare you to climb that particular building. Like you'll get very specific location-based dares, like Pokemon Go a little bit.
Were you guys daring each other at all on set? This is such a silly question. Were there any pranks on set? Were you guys playing Truth or Dare at all? What was that? But it seems like the story would elicit a certain amount of fun in reference to what you're doing on set.
I think we're mischievous people by nature, but I don't think we were formally playing Truth or Dare.
Yeah,
to my mind.
not officially.
We did the other day.
Yeah, been a lot of dares during this press junkets that haven't been that fun. But I bit into a bar of soap. I
Bit into a jalapeno.
Is this all people interviewing you guys that are
Yeah.
like, the game is based on, I've got some dares for you, Dave.
Sure, yeah.
But you kind of dared yourself to eat that jalapeno.
I'm trying to get this movie out there. All right? I'm sure.
You're very proud. You're very excited about this movie.
I am. I definitely wouldn't bite into a bar of soap if I didn't love this movie.
What was it like shooting this movie? Because there's definitely a kinetic energy to the filmmaking while you're watching it. I'm wondering if it felt like that while you were shooting it, because lots of times shooting movies can feel kind of like you come out for 45 minutes, do a couple of scenes, and then you walk away and you wait for the lighting to change. But with this, it feels like the cameras are all over the place, and you guys could have just been going all day.
Yeah, well, part of it, we were essentially DPs on this movie where they gave us handheld cameras and we were running around the city filming ourselves. And so just adds to like kind of the frenetic energy of the movie. And I feel like with all the different cameras that we used and the way it's cut together, and I feel like I just keep complimenting this movie. But again, I don't usually say this about things I'm in, but it like feels like a Danny Boyle movie with all like the split screens and just the fact that from start to finish, your heart just never stops racing.
Absolutely. What's it, Emma?
Oh, hi.
Raised the mic. I think you had something to add to that.
Go ahead.
Well, what's it like for you? What's it like for you guys as actors and actresses when you have a camera in your hand, when there's cameras all over the place? Because a lot of times as an actor on set, there's something that you feel protective of, and it's not your image, so to speak, it's your performance. You want to know what's being shot and how it's being shot so you can sort of monitor what you're doing physically. But when there's cameras all over the place, is that nerve-wracking or is that liberating as an actor?
I mean, I think it's fun.
Yeah, I find it
because you have to always be keeping that energy up instead of like knowing where the camera is, and if you're off camera and you like lose energy. With this, it was like every take we had to keep up the energy and keep it fresh and try something new and just kind of be on it, and all of us were always like pumping each other up. Like they'd come over and be like, guys, come on. Like we'd be running around to get our heart rate up because it's like action packed, and filming in New York also kind of helped with that. We were all just like going nonstop. The cameras were always rolling. We were always running around. There was no like lulls on set. Like on some sets, you're literally like off reading an entire book while they're like setting something up, and not on this movie.
And I think it allowed, again, to kiss the butts of these gentlemen.
Should I do that more?
I think
we're literally going to kiss your asses by the end.
Yeah, but it forced you. I dare you to kiss Ron.
I dare
Hunter's
you to
ass.
kiss.
But no,
You
it
don't have to
forces
dare
you
'em.
to accept. Like I feel like, I don't know, especially as young actors, you kind of have a lot of control issues, and you're a perfectionist about your performance, and you feel like only you understand how to do it right. And within like a few days, you had to kind of completely relinquish control and hand over trust to these gentlemen who earned that trust and were very alive and present and constantly actually reacting to what you were doing, as opposed to having their own controlled plan, which is sort of what made it a very
Collaborative
live
experience.
wire.
Yeah,
collaborative.
it really was, where I feel like before every single scene, we would all, congregate and talk about, all right, how do we make this the best scene possible? And there were a lot of last-second changes because of that, but I give everyone a lot of credit for not having an ego and for really valuing the best idea.
I think you guys are talking about teamwork.
Yeah.
Little thing called teamwork.
Absolutely.
You guys the movie's based on a book, right? And you guys collaborated on the screenplay with someone, or there was a writer. I'm curious what your take is on social media and on developing technologies in general, because there is an element towards the end of the film where you seem to sort of have a representative image of a kind of coliseum, and social media is the place where these sort of gladiatorial or gladiator-like battles are fought, be they physically or be they just with public shaming. It's the place where you publicly shame the people around you. I'm curious if that's where you were taking it as, fuck yeah.
Yes,
No,
those glasses are real.
We can swear up here, huh?
oh, yeah, I just swore, yeah.
Fuck, tits, ass, balls.
Yeah. That's why I said butt. instead
You
of
don't even
ass.
seem that pleased with doing that.
Need to get it out of my system.
So was that something that you were trying to present to the audience as social media,
Yeah.
as this new gladiatorial, what is it, gladiator-like space? How about that?
That sounds right.
Gladiatorial, that's good.
Gladiatorial?
That's a really good question. I guess we've been dealing with this issue since Catfish, since we made the doc Catfish, which is like how do we feel about social media, pro or con, or somewhere in between. And we've really been wrestling with this for years. We think it's like a hammer. You can build a house with it, or you can hurt someone. So it's really up to the users. So I'm not sure where I fall on that.
Henry?
I mean, I think it's a little bit of both. It's not black and white. Social media can be great. It can connect you with people you never would have met. It can, connect interests like across international boundaries. You can be talking to someone you would never meet like in real life, and that's awesome. And but
there's like a disturbing
but
part
at the
of
same
human
time,
nature that wants to watch people fail or wants to watch people be shamed, and social media has become the sort of
and
place
social
for that.
media has become a game. It's like, are we competing for likes? Are we doing things for likes that we're not really comfortable with deep down? I think that's what we wanted to say with this film is not like social media is bad or the internet's bad, but just like look at the way you're using it and think about if that's really what you want.
Yeah.
The film has some absolutely incredible stunts, and the shooting around New York City is amazing. I know you guys probably can't say what your budget was necessarily, but I'm imagining it wasn't particularly high, but you guys really pulled a lot off. What was the most difficult part of filming?
It was doing some of those things for real. And I will compliment our actors now and say that this was one of the bravest casts we've ever worked with. And they all did stunts, and they all did things for real. I mean, these two young ladies were up on a ladder many stories above the pavement.
When we
Really?
Yeah.
When I read that, I think I can speak for both of us. We were like, oh, is this gonna be on a green screen? And they're like,
Didn't process it.
they're like, no, we're putting this ladder 3 stories up between 2 buildings, and you'll be on like a piece of rope and walk across
String.
it. Piece of string. I was like, who's operating this piece of rope? And yeah, it was terrifying. It was terrifying.
Yeah.
It was, and you had to fall through, which that
wear heels. I was wearing.
Yeah, you were wearing heels. I got to wear sneakers.
Yeah.
And were you filming it on the little cameras too while you were doing it? Or
And
was that-
film it, yeah.
Yeah, we had to do a pass.
And a guy was pointing a laser pointer at me. That
And
was
I was yelling at you at the
Oh,
yeah,
that-
you were yelling. You're both yelling.
That was crazy. So Emily's doing this stunt where she crosses this ladder that these kids at a party have set up between 2 windows, and she's terrified. The tears in the movie are real. She knew you were scared of heights in real life. And all of a sudden, there's a laser pointer on her forehead. And she's like, okay, very funny, who's doing that? And it wasn't anyone on the crew. It was like some psycho drunk guy.
He's screaming to shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Now she thinks she's going to get shot on this ladder.
And I was like,
But she
praying,
can't just get off the
stuck
ladder
there,
because
yeah.
she's frozen and paralyzed, like she's paralyzed with fear. That was really scary. And then we had to go find out what apartment the guy was in, like bang on the door. And he was drunk and he was like really pissed. And we had to get him to stop pointing lasers at the like terrified actress.
Just like one of those guys on a location that's trying to stop the filming.
Yeah, yeah.
And it-
But
it's
that's
an
shooting in New
apartment
York.
building, yeah.
It's like they were doing this motorcycle dare. Dave learned how to ride a motorcycle really well enough for Emma to get on the back and zip around Park Avenue. And you have to stop at red lights, and then like drunk guys pour out and they're like, Nancy Drew! And we're like, stay in character. In the world of Nerve, Nancy Drew exists. It's just someone who looks like you.
Yeah, that was always, whenever we were filming, because the whole movie we were filming from like 5 p.m. till 5 a.m. And so Friday nights into Saturday, we'd be on busy streets and be like, why is it so crowded? And we're like, oh, it's Friday. And everyone would be coming out of the bars, like taking pictures and trying to film us and like come into the movie. And so we started kind of like using it and acting like they were watchers and kind of taking some of that.
We
But
started encouraging them.
yeah, we were like, let's find some good drunk people.
Can you talk about shooting some of that motorcycle stuff? It's really incredible. It's surprising to hear that you guys were actually riding the bike a little bit.
So, well, there's one sequence where Emma's on the back of the bike and I'm on the front, and we're trying to get to 60 miles per hour while I'm blindfolded. So they didn't let me do any of that. But Emma really
Sorry.
was on the back
was.
while the stunt driver was going, 40, 50 miles per
Yeah,
hour.
yeah.
Down Park Avenue?
Yeah, they shut down Park Avenue and 4 a.m. and I was on the back of the motorcycle in a sparkly mini dress and yeah, it was pretty terrifying.
Props to you. That's amazing.
Yeah,
It was gutsy.
Yeah, in retrospect, I'm like, why did I do that? but it looks really good.
Makes the scene, yeah.
But it was.
Do you have anyone on set being, Emma, don't do this. You don't have to do this, Emma. Don't do this.
No, I think everyone was like just scared that I was gonna say I wasn't gonna do it. So everyone's like, "Are you ready? Like, okay, we're gonna get on the bike. All right, we're gonna go over here. All right, we're rolling. All right, she's not getting off the bike. All right, this is good."
We get calls from the producers of Scream Queens. We're like,
Yeah.
they're like, so you're gonna use a dummy, right? Because we're shooting with her on Monday, and she needs to be
Yeah,
alive.
literally, no. Yeah, because there were all these like paparazzi photos of me on the bike, and everyone's like, "Wait, you're putting her on the bike?" My mom called me. She's like, "You're getting on the back of that bike?" I was like, "Ooh, yikes!" Everyone, but no, they had a stunt girl for some of it. Yeah. But I did a good amount.
You did great.
Thanks, guys. Thanks.
I want to go back to this social media bit just for a second because I brought it up to them as the filmmakers and the storytellers. But if you guys as actors and people who are living in public on a regular basis, how do you respond to the idea of social media as this place where it's not just a place to connect each other, but a place to take each other down or take somebody else down in front of everybody else? I think as actors and people who are in the public, oftentimes those on social media are looking for a chance or a reason to take public figures down, especially actors for some reason.
Yeah, I mean, the more people that follow me, like the less hesitant I am to post sometimes because it's like I don't know. I feel like the less followers you have, the less pressure it is, and the more there are, it's like people comment the craziest stuff on my Instagram that like has nothing to even do with the photo, or people like get in fights in the comment section of your photo that's not even about you. It's like between them, and it's kind of a crazy place. So I try not to like look at that stuff, but I think it's definitely a crazy place for sure. My sister's 15 and she tells me stories about, people at school writing stuff, from anonymous accounts, but it's really someone that they know. And that's what I found so interesting when I read the script is that, it's true. Like when you're anonymous, you kind of will say whatever you want. And it's just, it's crazy, really.
Yeah, all of this is the reason I'm not really on social media, just because as many nice things as people are gonna say every day, it's like there are gonna be those, handful of assholes who are like saying these horrible things, and I just don't want to invite that kind of negativity into my life every day, just because like I feel very fortunate that I'm at the point in my life where I've like, cut out all these people in my life who make me feel bad, and so I'm just surrounded by people I love, and I don't know, I'm happy, and I feel lucky to be happy. I don't want anyone to ruin that for me.
This movie made me.
He has Facebook,
We
by
love
the way.
you.
He has a Facebook.
I started
a
that
real
in
Facebook.
college, and now it's something I
He only
post
has a
on once
Facebook.
every 3 months. Yeah.
I'm in the middle because I hated it, and then this.
You have
movie
a really good Instagram. I like all your photos.
Thank you.
I do.
It is good.
It made me. I was so morally opposed to it, deeply opposed to it, and then doing this obviously made me realize I was acting like a.
You're really funny on
75-year-old.
Instagram too.
Thanks.
You're
I guess
really
I should have
funny.
started a long time ago.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I decided to be at least a part of the conversation versus excluding myself out of and thinking that silent rebellion would somehow say something, which it doesn't necessarily.
It really says a lot about the kind of connection that you get via social media, which is that you can connect and say, hey, I'm talking to this person, but it's not like seeing a person in public and you're going to say and do things to that person like the watchers do to the players in this. You're going to say and do things and force people to do things because you're not really connected to them in any way at all. They are essentially just a figure. They're just a player.
There's kind of a courage you get from being behind the screen. My dad really likes sending me the meanest YouTube comments on our video. He thinks they're really funny. And he'll like screen grab them and be like, isn't this one amazing? And when we made Catfish, somebody commented, if I ever see those two guys walking down the street, I'm gonna kick them in the taint. And he was like, isn't that funny? And also, what's a taint?
Why were people mad at you guys for Catfish?
I don't know. People get mad about everything,
They're jealous.
right?
I like Henry's rule of thumb, which is he would never comment anything that he wouldn't say to someone's face.
Yeah.
I know it
I
seems
agree.
obvious.
Should be the rule.
That should be the disclaimer on all social media.
It's a good rule.
Like whatever you say here, don't say it unless you're going to say it to their
Yeah,
face.
but then some guys can be like, I'll say this to Emma Roberts' face.
And I'll put
Yeah,
it,
yeah,
say
I
it to my
would.
face.
Show me her face. I'll
Say
stick it.
I'm really interested in that moment, the moment just before you post something, and you revise your comment, you revise your caption, you change the emojis, you reconsider the photo, you change the filter, and then maybe you put it away and you don't post it. What the hell are we dealing with that if you felt like saying it, just say it, you know? Why am I so concerned with like the minutia of every post? Is it for me? Is it for my followers, who some I know, some I don't know? And then you post it and you check again, like are the likes pouring in? You know,
And you're like, should I take it down?
Yeah, should I take it down?
delete it? Is it weirder if I delete it?
especially
Or
when
should I
you
keep
say
it up?
when you say something
Should I post
kind of
something else?
provocative,
Yeah.
and you do think about taking it down.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just a strange psychology going.
This
on.
I've turned
sounds
my phone off.
awful.
I've turned my phone off sometimes. Just turned it off.
Yeah.
Literally
It's
turned it
Just
off.
let
strange,
it
but it's
ride.
a new thing to human. Like, we didn't used to say our thoughts to people we don't know.
Right.
So, like, it's a bizarre
Really good point.
thing to have these to have complete access to however many people instantly. I don't know if it's that natural, or if we've learned how to do it.
Everyone's like looking really sad right now.
Dave is really disturbed. He's been sighing over there. I really want to hear what
I was
he
just
has
gonna
to
say, like you were mentioning before, how people maybe particularly like to take down people who are in the public eye, and I think part of the reason is because they have access to reach out to these people, and they want to like make an impression, no matter if it's positive or negative. And so, if they write some horrible comment, then that's gonna stay with that person probably, and it's like, all right, I made an imprint on this person that I wouldn't have been able to reach otherwise.
I've talked to so many people who, actors or public figures who've gotten trolled and responded to a troll to be like, hey, why did you say that? And the person a lot of the time will be like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't think you were paying attention.
yeah.
They just want to be part of the conversation, and like as you said, are doing what they can to get attention. Let's open it up to the audience for questions about the movie.
Yeah.
Hi guys.
Go ahead.
Thanks for being here. I'm really excited to see the movie. My question is actually for Emma and Dave. So both of you have recently done projects where you're kind of portraying the hilarious stereotypes of collegiate Greek life people. So I'm just wondering, what's your favorite part of that stereotype to play?
Well, I didn't really know anything about that kind of life, so I just found the whole thing kind of hilarious. Yeah, I don't really know what to say. We were shooting in New Orleans, and there was like a huge kind of Greek life down there, so we tried to go to like some sorority parties to do some research, so that was pretty funny. But in LA, I don't really know. I don't know anything about sorority life. I went to college for just a semester, and we didn't have sororities there. So I'm the wrong person to ask. You?
I went to USC, where there is a huge Greek life. I wasn't in a frat, but I was around it a lot. But what I love about Neighbors is that, we've seen fraternities in movies so many times, and it's always the same type of like douchey, like, whatever. But what I love about the director of Neighbors is that he likes to
Cheating on you guys.
Yeah. I thought you didn't like it.
I promise I don't just flowery compliments to all my directors, but Nick Stoller of Neighbors, he likes characters that are, you understand, even if they're the bad guy, you understand why they are who they are, and you have some sympathy for them. And so he allowed me to play it in a way where it's like, all right, yeah, he's douchey, and he's like, only cares about partying and girls, but like, he has this like serious, intense love and affection for his friends in his life, and it just adds a little humanity to the character.
Well, Neighbors and Neighbors 2 were intentional sort of subversions of what we think about Greek life or how Greek life is normally portrayed. So no more flowery. A director that you want to shit on, Dave. Go ahead.
Yeah, let's see.
Now, next question.
Hey guys, I got to see the movie last week too, and it was great.
Wow.
And also I worked as an extra on the Fort Wadsworth scene. I was wondering like what it was like shooting there, and how did you pick that location and other locations around the
Which
city?
location?
Cool. All right.
Fort
Nice,
Wadsworth
man.
in Staten Island.
That's the grand finale.
Did you have a good time?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun wearing all those crazy masks. and
Were you
stuff.
there every night?
Just 2 nights overnight.
What kind of mask did they have you wear?
I had my own like hoodie and like a face, like my ski mask or my snowboarding mask. with the
What were
skull
the
on
weird
it.
ones? There was like pig faces or something?
There's
What
a
were-
lot of masks. It was 500 people.
We're both New York City born and raised, so we've been location scouting forever. And Fort Wadsworth is a place we've been wanting to shoot for, like over 10 years. It's in Staten Island. It's under the Verrazano Bridge. It's a Spanish-American War fortress from like the 1840s. No one really knows about it. It's a New York City parks. You can go and see it, and it looks like the Colosseum in Rome, and they have goats that walk around the top that mow the grass because they can't get lawnmowers up there, but they can get goats up there. It's really cool. The only people that really notice it are the marathoners because it's on the marathon trail. And a couple movies have shot there, but they never use it for what it is. They always turn it into something like in another country. And so we were like, if we're going to get Lionsgate to let us shoot in New York, which costs millions of dollars more money than they'd want to spend if we shot in Toronto or something, we better use New York venues that no one else has. And that was a good one.
What were some of the other sort of New York venues no one else has used that you
The
guys
Carousel,
used
right?
here?
The Carousel in Brooklyn?
Jane's Carousel.
The Dumbo, then-
Yeah, that's
yeah.
cute. Spin, our favorite ping pong
Oh,
club, which doubles as the Hacker's Den. What else is there?
Bergdorf Goodman.
Has anyone,
Oh, yeah, we actually shot in
I
Bergdorf.
can't think of another movie that's shot there,
At
but
least not in their underwear.
Emily Meade's Kitchen.
Yeah.
We shot in
Oh,
there.
we did.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Real life
Yes.
kitchen.
In your
I did-
real
I don't-
life kitchen?
In my real life.
It's never been in
way.
a movie.
Yes, I don't think it made it in.
I didn't.
No.
She said it didn't make
no,
it.
it didn't make the final cut.
No, it
Did it?
didn't make it.
DVD.
We shot there.
DVD
Yes.
will have Emily's
Yes.
kitchen.
Yes.
Next question.
Hey guys, so I read the book for Nerve, and I was wondering what aspects of your characters' personalities do you relate to most?
All right.
Therapy.
I mean, do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. I think Emma and I realized throughout this press tour that our characters.
Oh, yes.
Go for it.
No. I was just excited that you were bringing this up.
Yeah,
Yes.
so that we're kind of the opposite of our characters, where her character in the movie is very kind of shy and reserved, and in real life she's.
I thought you were going to
much
say
more of a-
I'm more like your character and you're more like my
That's what I
character.
meant. Long,
Like he's
complicated
more
way
like
to say
V
it.
and I'm more like Ian
Yes.
is what we realized.
Yeah, where
A little bit.
I'm a little naturally more introverted, and she is more of a daredevil.
Yeah, thank you.
She was like, we were going around promoting this thing, and we're going out in New York City trying to just do random dares. We're walking through Washington Square Park. There's hundreds of people. When I'm in a crowd, like I get really shy, and I just kind of dip my head down. She's walking through. She sees the fountain. She's like, should I go jump in that? I'm like, yeah. And she just doesn't even break stride. Runs in there, starts splashing with a little kid. And I'm just like, get me out of here.
How about when we saw like the 10 hacky sackers? And Emma just like turned, she's like, hacky sack. And she just walked right up and started, she was like, hey, can I play? And they tossed it to her.
No, they were serious though, and
Yeah.
I was like really bad. And then one of them's like, "You're pretty good," and his friend's like, "No, she's not." I was like, "Thanks, guys." Kept walking.
Turns out one of those guys is the best hacky sacker in the world.
Well, that's why he.
Self-proclaimed?
No, I asked someone on the sidelines. Yeah.
Emily, what about you and your character?
I mean, I'm not quite a teenager anymore, but I relate to, I think Sydney, my character, is on the outside appears as sort of abrasive and aggressive and possibly a little bit slutty and clearly
No shame.
wants attention, and I don't think I went as extreme with it as she did. I also didn't have access to, I didn't even have any of this social media, let alone a game that I feel like fame is within my reach. But I do relate to, I'm assuming Sydney has some lack of love issues, perhaps some daddy issues, perhaps some lack of, attention at home, whatever it may be. I understand, overcompensating for either being shy or feeling insecure and wanting to be loved by the world. Perhaps why we all are driven to be actors in the first place. So I
Great
I
answer.
relate to the suicidal thoughts of Sydney. No, I'm kidding. It's completely a joke. No, I relate to acting out and overcompensating for being insecure and wearing things that don't quite match.
Oh, I love that. I love that about the character. They're like kind of sexy, but also like a teenager trying to be sexy, like kind of off, like not really like hitting the mark too well.
I loved your clothes.
They were my real shorts. And my real shoes.
Then they were hitting the mark. Sorry.
but it wasn't my real bathing suit and fur jacket thing. Sheep.
You did not like wearing those.
No. Sorry.
I think we have time for one more question.
Hi. Okay, sorry, I'm really nervous. But I just want to say happy belated birthday to Dave, and I also wanted to ask. Is Emma Roberts the only character that actually plays the game, or do her friends join in? Because I haven't seen anything about the movie until the trailer now, so I'm just wondering if she's the only one that kind of gets in trouble with the game, or how. I don't know if this is gonna spoil it by answering.
No.
Well,
spoil it.
I'm playing it first. No.
She started it.
Very much with that attitude.
Yes.
No, I mean, everyone's kind of playing it, and also at the same time, you don't really know who's playing it. Like, that's the whole idea is like everyone's a watcher or a player, but you don't necessarily know which. And you have some fame on the game. Like, she's really good on Nerve, and she kind of almost like peer pressures me into joining. And
rabbit that you follow down the rabbit hole.
And then yes, thank you. And then I fall down the rabbit hole.
That's what you were looking for.
No, and then you've been playing.
Yeah, and thanks for the birthday wishes.
So yeah, everyone's kind of playing this game. Yeah. So yeah. Do you want to add it? You guys know more.
Guys, when can people see the movie?
July 27th.
July 27th. Congratulations, guys, on a really original film and visually beautiful. Congratulations,
Thanks,
guys.
man.
Thanks so much for
Thank
being
you.
here.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.